God of War 3 Remastered review, my fair review. So, I played God of War 3 Remastered on PlayStation 5, one of the best rated action games in the history of mankind. Remastered version is easily 10 years old now, while original is all the way from 2010. How is God of War 3 faring in 2025? Did it age well? Let's find out. Story. Kratos is on his final mission to destroy Mount Olympus and face Zeus. This is a classic revenge story with a lot of surprises along the way. But how is the actual writing and acting? Acting is hands down one of the best ever in a video gaming history, while writing is also mature and serious. It does feel a bit like a Hollywood movie, but hey, at least it's better than 90% of AAA games today, yeah. There's a lot of scenes of violence, nudity, gore, etc. Very few games offer that today, if any. 9 out of 10 for the story. Game bugs and optimization. Smooth game, extra fast loading times, optimized to perfection, works extremely well on PlayStation 5, not a single bug on the entire run. 10 out of 10 for bugs and optimization. Game time. Short game, around 10 hours in total, and that's on the hardest difficulty available. Guess it's even shorter on easier difficulties. Replay value is quite solid because the game is fun, but it's not like you're gonna see something new when you replay the game, yeah. One run on every 5 years would be the exact dosage on God of War 3, 7 out of 10 for the game time. Game difficulty. It's not an easy game if you play on the hardest difficulty, cause you will need to learn all bosses and their mechanics. Most of the enemies hit like a truck, and having fixed camera angles doesn't help at all. But hey, that's what gaming used to be back in the day. Fixed camera angles. The game offers solid challenge and everyone can play this, from casuals to pros. It's equal fun. 9 out of 10 for the game difficulty. Maps and graphics. The game is getting old and you can feel it. Graphics are still holding on and there are plenty of gorgeous areas and cutscenes in the game. Action cutscenes being, as always, the biggest highlight of the game. Map variety is actually huge for such a short game. I'll be honest, the game, even after all this time, looks phenomenal. I was impressed with a lot of handcrafted areas in the game, especially with its backgrounds. Especially with the backgrounds during animated cutscenes. And yes, engine is getting older, and as years go by, it will look worse and worse, but it will always remain a classic, if nothing else. 9 out of 10 for maps and graphics. Gameplay. Action game with fixed camera angles. Fast-paced, addicting, with non-stop interrupting cutscenes during gameplay. Controls are responsive, but you will have to get used to those camera angles, especially when camera decides to switch angles in the middle of a deciding moment in combat. Should I also mention the reaction buttons in the middle of combat, where I often failed because I wanted to catch every moment that's happening on screen? Well, one thing is sure, God of War 3 is a perfect game to watch as a viewer than it is to a player. A lot of things are happening on the screen non-stop and you have to focus on staying alive. Now, as always, gameplay consists of platforming, puzzles, and plenty of combat. Puzzles are tuned down and much easier than in God of War 1 or 2. Combat is much faster and more fluid, while platforming parts are simply amazing. The bottom line is, game is fun, addicting, never boring. It literally doesn't have a single boring second, and that's very rare these days. 9 out of 10 for the gameplay. Leveling and itemization. Weak leveling system, same as in all other God of War games. Open chests, get souls, upgrade weapons, raise health and mana. Simple, but it beats the game well. You are there to smash, rip and tear, not to min-max builds. From itemization, Kratos has some new toys to play with, but let's be real, the best are still his famous chainswords. All of the new items that you get will have new upgrades and you will receive new movesets and combos to whack enemies with. I can't say how game has some rich leveling and itemization system, it would be a lie, but on the bright side, it doesn't need it at all. 7 out of 10 for leveling and itemization. NPCs and Enemies. Astounding amount of memorable NPCs with one of the most famous main protagonists in video gaming history, Kratos. Boss fights are so diverse and unique, I just can't remember the single game that offers so much epicness as God of War 3. Enemy variety is huge for a short game. AI is also quite good. I won't talk way too much here, this segment is pure 10 out of 10. Music and sound. I don't know what to praise more, sound effects, phenomenal voice acting, or that epic main theme for the God of War 3. Music is straight nuts in this game. I don't know what's better, it's just pure 10 out of 10. Final verdict. We got 80 points in 9 sections, and that would be 8.8 out of 10 for God of War 3 Remastered on PlayStation 5. I'll be honest, this is easily close to 10 out of 10 game 10 years ago, but I'm rating God of War 3 for 2025. It's still holding on even after 15 years of its initial release. It's still a gorgeous game and probably the best single player game in PlayStation history as far as exclusives go. Chances are we might see a brutal game like God of War 3 maybe in like 20 years from now, cause let's be real, all we get these days from AAA games are political agendas painted in purple colors. God of War 3 is serious, mature action game. Dark and brutal, where you get to play as a good guy and as a bad guy at the same time. Kratos is by far one of the strongest main protagonists in video gaming history, and God of War 3 is the main reason for that. Legendary game, everyone should try to play at least once in their lifetime. I hope that we receive some full rework on the entire franchise in the future, including all of the Greek parts. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.